Hi there, everybody. Chris Krushisnik with eXp Realty. I'm the owner of the Krushisnik Group. I am a licensed realtor in Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, and DC, and I love to help people buy and sell homes. Okay, on the buyer series, a continuation. We have ratified a contract on the property that we like. We've gotten our inspections ordered and kind of completed, and we're in the process of negotiating them. The next thing, which is kind of congruent with what we're doing at the same time in this process, in the early stages of contract to close, are the financing process. What is the lender doing during this process? Okay, there's the financing contingency, and then there's the financing process. I'll kind of walk you through the process, and I'll walk you through the contingency. So in a contract, a contingency means you have X amount of time to get this variable or question mark satisfied to your liking and negotiate a resolution with the other side. Okay? Financing means that you have X amount of days to get a commitment from a lender for this financing. Typically in a normal market, it's 30 to 60 days. In a tight seller's market, it can be less, which is what we've been in. In a buyer's market, it's probably usually still 30 to 60 days, but it can go on. The difference in financing versus like an inspection contingency is an inspection contingency is designed that I have 7 to 10 days or however long, whatever's dictated in the contract and negotiated, but let's, for the sake of this discussion, it's 7 days to get a home inspection and to get a report from the home inspector and get a list of repairs over to the seller for the repairs to get negotiated. If I send them notice after that 7 days, they don't have to respond. I'm outside of my window of opportunity. So that's kind of a hard stop on that contingency. The financing contingency works a little bit different. A financing contingency means like you're gonna say 20, 30, 45, 60 days, which is typically what we have. But you're gonna, let's say it's 30 days to get your financing secured. The seller has to give you 30 days to secure your financing. On day 30, from the day we ratify our contract, the seller will then have the ability to send you notice and say, look, you show me proof that you have commitment from a lender and remove your financing contingency so the contract is no longer contingent upon financing. Or I'm going to kick you out and go back on as active. You can have your deposit back and we'll go our merry ways. It's not a hard stop. If you do not submit a commitment letter or remove your commitment letter, or remove your commitment contingency, your financing contingency, you are still open-ended and you can get out based upon the financing, okay? There's a difference between that and the home inspection. That's important to note, okay? So that covers our financing contingency. Going into the process, first, I would like to interrupt this video and ask you to subscribe below if you find this content useful. If you find any of my content useful, please subscribe below. Feel free to comment, to share these videos with anybody you know, because I love to help people learn more about a real estate transaction and see if I can help anybody. So we went over the contingency. Now we're going into the process. So once we ratify the contract is ratified when the seller and the buyer agree to the terms of the contract in writing, okay? From that point, usually your realtor will send a copy of the contract to your lender and a copy of your contract to the title company. The lender is going to start the financing process from where they left off when they took your first application. So if there's any documentation that is outstanding that needs to be submitted, if there's any explanations on the credit report or anything that needs to be provided to an underwriter to explain your scenario or to grant an exception, they're going to gather that. They're also going to order the appraisal, and an appraisal takes about 15 to 30 days days to order and to get back, and you're going to have to pay out of pocket for the appraisal, which is not included in your closing costs. But they're gonna get all the documentation. They're gonna get your appraisal. They're gonna get all the other stuff. They're gonna get an estimated closing disclosure from the title company. They're gonna package that all together. The loan officer will, your loan officer, and they will send that to the underwriter. And the underwriter is the person who approves the loan or denies the loan, okay? So they're going to take your package with all of the appraisal and all the documentation and any exception that you have, and they're going to compare it to the financing conditions that apply to the loan you've applied for financing. And some of your stuff may just be a check in the box, and then others may cause the underwriter some concerns, and they're going to ask for additional documentation to clear up this condition, okay? You definitely want to move quickly and respond as fast as you can, because delays are very common in this process, and we really don't have time to delay. One day can hold things up for another day, and it goes into the weekend, and all of a sudden, instead of getting your financing done in 25 days, we're at day 40, and that can put us at risk. So we definitely want to make sure there's nobody waiting on you for documentation or anything like that. And we want to communicate with the lender, with the title company, and most importantly, with the listing agent and the seller to let them know where we're at in this process. We don't want to give away too much information, but we do want to keep them involved in the process as a professional courtesy and as a reassurance that we're not dragging our feet and doing nothing, okay? So once all that gets sent to the underwriter, and the underwriter says, okay, all the conditions are fine and I'm good, they then issue a commitment. That means that's writing from the underwriter, from the lender, saying that you're approved for this financing for this property and we're going to settle on this day. You can then send that to the seller and close out your financing contingency. You don't have to, but you can. And I recommend that many people do, but we don't always do that, because it's an ace that's nice to have up our sleeve, saying that the financing is still open. One thing to note is the lender has to give you a 3-day review period of the closing disclosure. So once the commitment is obtained, the next step the lender should be doing is sending you a copy of the closing disclosure, which is a pretty darn accurate statement of what you're going to have to bring to the settlement table, what your fees are going to be, and what your rate and terms are going to be, okay? I do hope you enjoyed this video. It is an absolutely beautiful Friday. It's supposed to be an absolutely beautiful weekend, very mild, a beautiful August weekend. So go enjoy it. Please share this video while you're enjoying this weekend. And if you know of anybody that's looking to buy or sell, please get me in touch with them, because I'd be happy to help.